This lesson, we are going to be adding in the GameEnd functionality. So right now, when we hit start, we see the button changes, so the inner text changes, as well as we get an output. And then we're expecting a done to be clicked, and this is what completes the calculation and all of the functionality. So we're going to check to see if this inner text is equal to done, and if it is, then we know we need to run our completion script, and this is to complete the game. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to do complete opposite here. So we're going to change this to true so the player can no longer type. We're going to update the button, so the inner text of the button, change that back to start so we can start the game once again. And this actually needs to be an else if, so we need to make sure that we're else if it's done. So start, we type, and we hit done, and it goes back to start. We can type again, done, and we can't type anymore. So now we need to run the GameEnd or end play function. So let's go ahead and create that function and play. And we need to do quite a bit of the same thing here that we have within the play game, where we're getting the current date to get the timestamp. We're gonna set the end time so that we have a completion time. So end time equals date get time. So we get the same value. So we have a start time globally and an end time globally. So globally just means that these variables are sitting on the main part of the script so that we have access to them. And the way that variables work in JavaScript is that you can access the ones on the parent level, but you can't access the ones within the child. So that's where the scope, variable scope is. Let's calculate out the total time. So creating a new variable for total time. And this is where we can take the end, subtracting out the start time, and dividing by 1,000. And this is going to give us the total time that was played. And remember that this is in milliseconds, the end time and start time. When we divide it by 1,000, that's going to give us the number of seconds played. And we can output that now. And this is how many seconds we played the game. So now we start 1, 2, 3, and done. So it gave us roughly around 3.743 seconds of time played. We also want to get the current input value here. So let's get that, and that can just be a string. Getting the player text, play text, and whatever value is associated with there. So that's going to get the content from there. We can look at the number of words, and this is where we need to count the number of words. So I'll show you how to do that in the upcoming lessons. We need to count how many words? Count words. So we need the number of words, and then we can multiply and divide it by the total time, words, and then we can output that final message to player. So let's go ahead and do that in the upcoming lesson. So right now, just build out that end play function, update on the button to see if the button says done, and if it does, then we change it back to start, we disable the text area, and we run the function end play, and then within here, we create the end time, and then we calculate out the total time, and then we've got a few more things to do before we can wrap up this application.